to Take Two with Freddy. This is our very first episode, and I'm genuinely grateful you're here. I'm Freddy Freundlich. Yeah, it's a mouthful, so just call me Freddy. Let me share with you what this podcast is all about. It's for regular people like you and me, just trying to figure it all out, to figure life out. People who might be thinking, is it too late to make a change? Can I try it again? That kind of stuff. And my answer to you is absolutely. There's an old adage, the opera's not over till the fat lady sings. So as long as you got a breath in you, there's always a chance for you to do something different. I personally have lived a full, unpredictable life. God willing, I'm only halfway there. But so far, it's been a great life. I've been a successful entrepreneur, a mentor, a father, a screw-up. Wow, a lot of times I've been a screw-up. And also, I think, a pretty good storyteller. And through it all, I've learned the hard way. And that's why this podcast isn't about theory. It's about what I believe really works. Everything I'm going to share with you, I've actually lived. My motto is, if I haven't walked it, I won't talk it. And that, I think, will separate this podcast from many others. While there are a lot of people out there who are fantastic coaches, you can find coaches in every area of life, every field, and you can find unbelievable people. Obviously, you have to be careful because, like in any profession, there are pretty lousy ones, but there are some excellent coaches. The thing is that many coaches, they're experts in what they teach, even though they themselves have never experienced it. Some of the best law professors in the world never set foot in a courtroom. We know how many fantastic, great sports coaches never played ball, never played professional ball. It doesn't take away what a great teacher they are. I'm a little different. I fall into the category of a mentor because, again, I will only share things that I've personally experienced. Now, the goal of this podcast is that we're going to spend each week anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes with you, not lecturing, not preaching, just talking, sharing stories, reflecting. My goal is to try and make you laugh, maybe make you think a little bit, and maybe even nudge you toward that second chance you've been putting off. We're not going to get into politics, no drama, just real life inspiration, some occasional divine nudges, and hopefully some really honest talk. Now, I just mentioned a word, which in my experience, sometimes people have their antennas go off in all different directions, and that's the word divine. Now, when I use the word divine, first of all, I'm really talking about, in this concept, divine inspiration. And people sometimes say, oh, divine, it means this is something about religion. And no, this is not about religion. You can define divine any way you want. You can call it Mother Nature. You can call it a higher power. You can call it God, whatever you want. But we've all experienced this. Now, let me clarify. I'm not talking about burning bushes, thunderbolts, splitting the Red Sea, all sorts of stuff like that. I'm talking about those moments when you hear something at just the right time, perhaps from someone you never expected, or perhaps you see something at the right place at the right time. Perhaps you have that accident or near accidents, but whatever happens, it clicks. Something clicks. And sometimes that makes all the difference. That's exactly what we need to get moving again. Sometimes it can change the world. I've had that happen to me personally in my life many, many, many times, and I'm sure you have too. I'm hoping maybe, just maybe, something I say today will do that for you. And I want to also add at this point that I really believe that throughout our lives, we are given these divine nudges so much more than we can imagine. And it's part of the process. So, what's the process of us being a human being? Human beings have the double edged sword that we can think. Animals can't think. So, we can think. And we know how good thinking can do for us. But have you ever actually thought how bad thinking can do for you? One of my mentors, a gentleman by the name of Zig Ziglar, coined the phrase stinking thinking. And the point is that we spend so much of our lives thinking. And we think about problems we have, we think about things we want to do, we think. And we're looking for answers. We spend so much of our day going through this process of thinking and looking for answers. But we don't stop to listen for the answers. So when these divine nudges, these divine inspiration comes, they usually a bigger thing than we want. But they're out there all the time. And we just have to start learning how to listen to them. You know, the old adage, I didn't see the forest because of the trees. You have to stop sometimes, relax, chill out. Listen, the divine inspiration is there. It may mean you commit a few minutes to a half hour a day, go for a walk, be by yourself, go to the beach, go to the forest, whatever. But folks, I'm guaranteeing you that so much of the things on your mind today, you already have the answers. You're just being fogged up. You got to chill, chill, chill. And that, if anything else, I hope you take away from this message today. So let's get into it. What's on my mind right now? My mind right now is Groundhog Day. Now, for those of you who don't know, Groundhog Day it's on the calendar. You can Google it. It falls on, if I'm correct, I believe it's February 2nd. And it's an old wives' tale superstition for the Pennsylvania Dutch that basically that on that day, if the groundhog emerges from its burrow and then sees its shadow, it goes back to its den, and then winter will continue for 6 more weeks. Okay? Back in I believe, the early 90s, there was actually a movie made called Groundhog Day, which was a pretty funny movie. And I saw it back in the 80s, which gives you guys an idea of how far back I go. Back in the 90s. And it was a funny movie. I really enjoyed it. I remembered it. But it was a movie like many other movies. It was funny. I enjoyed it. But it went in one ear and out the other. Not one of those movies which have a meaningful impact on me that I took it with me. And then, just a few days ago, I saw Netflix Groundhog Day, so I decided to watch it again. And again, if you haven't seen the movie, it's about a guy stuck reliving the same day over and over and over again. Basically, what happens is he goes to bed, sets his alarm for 6:30, gets up, and it's the same day, Groundhog Day. But this time when I watched it, it was a wow. It hit me so differently. It was that divine inspiration. This time, I saw the brilliance in the message. Now, I have no idea if that's what the writers intended, but that's what I got out of it. It hit me 2 things, actually. Number one, that every single day is a chance to start over. Now, we hear that. We know it's, sort of in our mind, but we never really internalize it. But it's so true. Every day that we are around, we get a do-over. Yeah, we can't go back and change the past, but we can change the future. We can change the future by changing the now, the present. And the second thing that amazed me about this movie was how much can be done in one day if you make a plan and you deal with it. So every single day is a chance to start over, to change, to grow. We don't need excuses. We don't need a new year, a crisis, a midlife breakdown, a birthday, your anniversary. It doesn't, none of that. We just need to wake up and do one thing differently. Life is like a gigantic puzzle. Think of a puzzle of 1,000,000 pieces. Okay? What would be the big deal if we misplaced or lost one piece of that puzzle? Well, if it's a 1,000,000-piece puzzle, it doesn't seem like a lot. But the truth of the matter is, it would change the entire picture. And if it was 2 pieces or 3 pieces, I think you guys get where I'm going. So that's what a life is about. We have a puzzle. And if we can start changing, doing one thing differently, no matter how menial you might think it is, it starts changing the picture. And by the way, we don't have to wait till tomorrow or next week. There's no reason why, if you want to make a change, you can't do it right now at this moment. Because by the way, anything you decide to start tomorrow is going to fail. If it's something you really want, you will start it right now. Because tomorrow is just a dream. It's not real. So anyway, moving on here, it got me thinking, and it got me thinking about my mom. My mom, she was 40 plus years, okay? She had 6 kids. She had a very successful career in finance. She owned her own stock brokerage company on Wall Street. And she decides one day, what seemed to us out of nowhere, that she wants to become a medical doctor. People thought she was nuts. You just don't do these things. And again, we're talking about back in the 70s. This is not something that people do. And even today, nobody goes to medical school at that age. Whether we like it or not, there is age discrimination. They're not going to accept you. And that's what all the so-called experts told her, that she was wasting her time. Well, she had a whole different picture. She didn't care what the experts said. She didn't care what the advice is. She decided she was going to do things a little bit differently. And she pursued it. So the first thing she had to do, even though when she originally went to university at the age of 20, and she went to an Ivy League school, graduated summa cum laude, which means like she was the top of her class. She still had to go back because her original degree was in economics. She had to go back to a community college and take science classes. And even then, she started being rejected by medical schools, left, right. All she got was rejection. And, they'd all tell her, listen, you have everything except. But she wasn't discouraged. She stuck with it. And long story short, she ended up graduating from Rutgers Medical School, and she had an amazing career in medicine, and all this after the age of 40. Now, the facts are the facts. The facts are there was and it is age discrimination. The facts are that most experts would tell you you're crazy. All the facts were the facts. But she was able to change the facts for her with one simple thing. It was called her attitude. She decided that she was not going to listen to what the experts had to say. I read a book not too long ago called A New Pair of Glasses. This was written by one of the founders or originating members of Alcoholics Anonymous. And the premise of this book, it really hit me. It was a wow. The premise of this book is simply that nothing really changes in life. Life is what it is. And we're not going to change anything. It is what it is, what it is. There's only one thing that can change, and that is our pair of glasses. What glasses are we wearing? In other words, what is our attitude? And that simple thing, our attitude, can literally change the world. As we saw with my mother, we can go into different stories, different patients, different things that occurred to her in her medical career because her attitude changed. She put on a different pair of glasses and she said, regardless of what everybody says, I am going to become a medical doctor. So let me ask you guys, what's your take two? What's that one thing you keep putting off because you think it's too late? Is it starting a business, going back to school, writing that book, playing a musical instrument, or learning how to play a musical instrument, or just being more of who you really are? You're not too old. I don't care how old you are. It's not too late. It's never too late. You know when it's too late? It's too late when it's too late. And here's the biggest thing. You know you don't need to have it all figured out. And that's something else I've learned. Forget about having it all figured out. It's never going to work if you're waiting to get it all figured out. Just get there and start. You know, this podcast is a great example. I've been thinking about doing a podcast for a long time. And I didn't because I needed to get all my ducks in a row. I had to figure out this and this and this and this and the other thing. And then a podcaster gave me a great piece of advice. He said, just get it out there, record it. It may not sound the best the first time. You may want to change things after that. Just get it out there. And that's what I'm doing. So, as I said, one of the things I've learned, and I've had plenty of stumbles in my life and screw-ups, it's that most of us are always waiting for a perfect moment, for that perfect moment. Well, guess what? That perfect moment is never coming. Unless you put on a new pair of glasses. And if you do that, today can be that moment. Right now can be that moment. All it takes is a shift in how you see it. It doesn't matter what the facts on the ground are. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. It doesn't matter what's going on in your family. Nothing matters. All that matters is how you see it. So, folks, I want to thank you. I'll be here every week sharing stories, thoughts, and sometimes even advice, but only advice I've earned the right to give. And please, if I ever get it wrong, and I'm sure I will, please call me out. I'm still learning too. So again, thank you for listening to this very first episode of Take Two with Freddy. I hope something in here has spoken to you. And if it does, please share it. Let someone else know they've got another shot too. So until next week, be real good to yourself. You've got so much more in you than you could possibly